Hey team, Chris here. The number one reason I hear for people giving up on their healthy weight management or fitness plan or healthy eating plan or whatever it might be is that they run out of willpower. So they put in willpower every day and they make all of these changes, and come the end of the week, maybe Thursday night, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it might be week 1 or it might be week 2, is that they've used up willpower every day. And willpower only lasts for so long before it depletes, and you just get fed up and you say, stuff it, I can't do this anymore, I'm exhausted. Not so much physically exhausted, but I'm mentally exhausted and I've run out of willpower and I'm going to go back to my old ways. So you all know that I teach and coach and love the intermittent fasting protocol. Primarily the 5-2 fasting protocol, but others as well. But today I'm going to talk about 5-2 and how it works, how all weight loss works, and who it works best for and who should not try it. Now, I've drawn a beautiful little diagram here. It's handwritten, so it's very artistic, as you can see. And this, I'm going to demonstrate to you how the 5-2 fasting works. But before I do that, I'm going to go back a step and talk about how all weight loss works. Now, if you can see here, we've got a little tank type diagram. And in this situation, the tank type diagram represents how many calories you burn up each day in a 24-hour period. So we know that in a 24-hour period, we burn most of our calories just by staying alive. So if we were hooked up to a hospital bed and not moving a muscle, we would still burn about 1 calorie per minute, or for a medium-sized female, for myself, we would. And then if I get up and move around, I'm going to burn more. And then if I run to the bus, catching the bus or whatever it might be, I burn more. If I do an hour exercise session, I burn more calories per minute, but it's only for that hour, etc., etc. So we're going to use Sally as an example. And Sally's energy tank for this 24-hour Monday is, let's say, 2,000. Now, we're not going to get too strict with that, and we're not going to be strictly counting everything in and out because we know it's only an estimate, but it's a pretty good estimate and it'll give us a rough guide. So if Sally uses 2,000 calories in a 24-hour period, but she puts in less than that, she puts in less calories via food and drink, what we call that is Sally has created a calorie deficit. Now, this is how all weight loss works. A calorie deficit has to be created for weight loss to work. Whether you're aware of it or not, whether you know anything about calories, whether you went on Weight Watchers plan or paleo or vegetarian or meal replacement shakes, or you walked more or you moved more, or whatever it might be, you accidentally or on purpose created a calorie deficit in order for weight loss to happen. There's no other way for it to happen. So that's how it happens. Sally burns 2,000 calories, for example. Everybody burns different amount depending what they're doing, but we're using an example of Sally. She puts in less than that, and that deficit has to come from Sally's body somewhere. She's not going to conk out like in the case of a car. If it needed 60 litres of fuel and you only put in 40, it would conk out. But in the case of the human body, we've got a reserve energy tank known as body fat, and it's there anytime we need it to tap into. It keeps us alive. On the other hand, we could lose and use lean muscle mass for this calorie deficit. We don't want to do that. We want to preserve lean muscle mass. We want to make sure we get adequate protein, but we'll talk about that in another article or another video. So let's just assume Sally burns 2,000 calories a day. She consumes, let's say she consumes 1,500 calories per day, and that would be a traditional dieting plan where she consumes a little bit less than what she burns, and the deficit comes from her stored body fat. Now that obviously creates a 500 calorie deficit. We know that we need to be in deficit approximately, we're not talking exacts here, but approximately 7,000 calories to lose 1 kilo. So if Sally did the traditional chip away model, she'd be in deficit a little bit here, and this uses a little bit of willpower, little calorie deficit, that's how the traditional dieting model works, how you're you're a little bit on track each day, and at the end of the week you get to a big calorie deficit, and that comes from your reserve energy tank, which is your body fat. So this is how all weight loss works. As I said, no matter if you accidentally achieved it, if you didn't know anything about it, it's technically what happened inside your body. So how the 5-2 protocol works is you create a really large calorie deficit on 2 days of the week. So let's say Sally burns 2,000 calories, but she only puts in 500. This creates a really large calorie deficit, and she loses a lot of body fat on this day, maybe say half a kilo. On these 5 regular days, Sally doesn't create a calorie deficit, which means she doesn't have to feel like she's dieting. She just does what she normally would do forever and ever. So if you think back to what you did last month, your normal regular days, these would look like this. Normal calorie deficit, no weight gain, no weight loss. You are actually not meant to lose any weight on these 5 regular days. Now that's hard for some people to get their head around. What? I'm not meant to lose weight every day. No, you're meant to lose a big chunk of weight here, a big chunk of weight here, and no weight loss here. But here's the catch. You are also not meant to gain weight here. And if you then have a mentality of, I've been so good here, I'm now going to eat more, or I'm really starving, or I'm going to eat more. Generally, that extra hunger doesn't happen, even though you think it's going to. Generally, you end up less hungry, but that's a video for another day also. But if you have a day here where you eat or drink or consume more calories than you need, so let's say Sally burns 2,000 calories, but she consumes 2,500, the technical term for that is calorie surplus. It's a spillover effect. Whenever we have calorie surplus, we store body fat. So we want to avoid at all costs this calorie surplus, otherwise some or all of the benefits that we created here are going to get cancelled out. So this is the most common mistake that people make, is they create this really good calorie deficit here. They burn a lot of body fat, Ideally, they should pretend like the fast never happened, but they sort of overcompensate and end up eating more than they normally would, creating a calorie surplus because they've consumed more calories than they've burnt in a 24-hour period, and that cancels out some or all of the benefit, or they may even go backwards. They may sort of create a calorie deficit here and then consume more, and it all sort of cancels each other out. You end up gaining weight and thinking, what the hell happened? How did that all go wrong? So as I said, traditional dieting model is tiny deficit, little bit of willpower, tiny deficit each day. We sort of nickname it the chip away model. And this suits moderators. So if you're somebody who prefers to do a job with a little bit of effort each day, then the traditional dieting method suits you. But if you are somebody who prefers to batch your effort and do a big burst of effort on a couple of days a week and then cruise on the other, not pig out, not go into surplus, but just cruise on the other. So what we're using is a big lot of willpower, then preserve willpower. We sort of get our willpower energy, we fill our willpower tanks back up, then use a big lot of willpower. If that suits you as a personality type, then intermittent fasting might be a really fantastic option for you. As I said, one doesn't work better than the other. They both create a weekly calorie deficit. So then one's not better than the other, just different, and they suit different personality types. As I said, I've coached hundreds of people doing this, the right personality types, the right people who know how it all happened, and they've achieved amazing results, sort of up to 20 kilo losses. And it just suits these people down to the ground once they understand these 3 terms. Calorie deficit equals weight loss, calorie balance equals no weight loss, no weight gain, calorie surplus equals weight gain. So once you understand those 3 terms, then you can sort of manipulate it all. Now we could also make this tank bigger and try and increase the number of calories that we burn each day by moving more, not sitting as much, getting an extra exercise session, all of those kinds of things. As long as we don't compensate for it by then shoveling in more food than we normally would, or by resting and sitting and sleeping even more than we normally would. So you can either do your calorie deficit by consuming less or burning more, or ideally a combination of the two. Now, I will say that I've been in this game for 20 plus years, and even though on paper they should achieve the same. So what I'm trying to say is, if you consume 500 less calories than you need, or if you burnt 500 more calories than you need, it should be the same. And in theory and on paper, it should be the same, but I find more bang for your buck if you reduce the calories in. And I really like it if you do it on 2 days to preserve willpower on the 5 days. So if you get to the end of the week and you run out of willpower and you just sort of you think you've tried everything, then maybe this 5-2 protocol might be just what you're after. Big burst of energy here, get your willpower back, get your willpower back. Big burst of energy where weight loss is meant to happen. No weight loss, no weight gain, but no willpower needed either. And you know, at the end of the week, you still come to that 1 kilo weight loss. No miracle cure, no magic quick fix. You got to chip away at it. If you put on 20 kilos, you got to chip away and do it just like you would in any other traditional plan. But as I said, suits certain personality types, and if it suits you, it might be just what you're after. I have written a free fasting cheat sheet with quite a few common problems that people run into that I see time and time again. If you would like a copy of that, I will put the link somewhere in the comments. I don't know if they're up or down, and you can download a free, no obligation, no catches fasting cheat sheet to know how it all works. It's got all this written down, plus how to avoid the mistakes, plus how to maximize your results, and you know, get you on your way to starting this way of life, losing weight, maintaining your weight once you've done that. Okay, hit me with any questions if you have them, but download that free cheat sheet. See you guys.